Day 11 of the Tokyo 2020 Paralympics, and we're right here at the Aomi Urban Sports Park, the gold medal match of the football five-a-side. 3 hard-fought group games apiece, 2 even harder-fought semi-finals, distills the competition down to this moment under the humid Tokyo skies. 2 giants of the footballing world in any derivative of the game you please to choose will draw battle for the gold medal right here in Tokyo. It is Argentina in their famous blue and white stripes against Brazil in the yellow jerseys known across the world for their footballing flair, but in men's football five-a-side for their sheer dominance of the Paralympics. Well, the bronze medal was decided earlier today, and it was a sensational appetizer between Morocco and China, with Morocco coming away with the bronze. But both those sides were defeated by the 2 before us today to set up this mouth-watering final. Brazil, well, they only know one color, and it is gold. But the team looking to break their hegemony is this Argentinian side, and Dario Lensina, what a moment for the goalkeeper wearing number 1. He was in the Argentinian squad when these two last met in the Athens 2004 final, one that Argentina lost on penalties, and it comes full circle 17 years later to present him with an opportunity to turn silver to gold. Deldo, Accardi and Padilla make the defensive rock of Argentina that's been virtually impenetrable, other than the 1 goal they conceded against Morocco. And Maximiliano Espinillo, wearing 15, he is their arch goal scorer. 7 goals in the tournament to date. They bet against seeing the net bulging with him on the field, but lots of talent to bring on. German Mulek, the other goalkeeper, has been imperious throughout, and whisper it quietly, he's a penalty specialist, should it come to that. But the Brazilian side that lie in front of them, that lie in the way, are quite sublime. Luan, the young goalkeeper in his first Paralympics, starts the final in his first Paralympics. And it's a case if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Because Cassio, Nonato, Thiago Pereira and Ricardinho start just as they did in the semi-final that they had to battle, and battle hard, to beat Morocco. This team, this nation, they have only ever known gold, and they will look to make it 5 in a row, having won every single Paralympics since its introduction. A name on the bench for us to keep an eye on is Damião, the yin to Dario Lensina's yang, because he was in the Brazilian side that claimed gold in that Athens final in 2004 when Lensina left with silver. The first time these 2 great nations meet in a final since 2004 at the Paralympics. Big responsibility calls on big names in the referee jerseys, and Francois Kakoué, Tom De Bruyne and Takagi Kazuo will be the men in the middle, making sure all is in order in what promises to be a fiercely contested gold medal match.
Ladies and gentlemen, the anthem of Argentina. アルゼンチン国歌の演奏です。Muy inmortal es el grito sagrado, libertad, libertad, libertad. Hoy el ruido de notas cadenas. ブラジル国歌の演奏です。
With the national anthems concluded, we must reflect on the fact that this is one of the great rivalries on the continent. It doesn't matter which sport, it doesn't matter how they are meeting, it doesn't matter whether it is in the group stages or indeed in a final as this one. When Brazil and Argentina meet, it is two giants who clash, particularly in the world of football, and certainly this is going to be a very tough rivalry renewed. You mentioned, of course, the 2007 Paralympic Games final. When this was introduced, Brazil and Argentina would meet in the final. Brazil would claim the gold medal and remain undefeated throughout the 4 editions, as they've claimed 4 successive, going for 5 successive. But Argentina in 2006, with Damião playing for Brazil and with Licina playing for Argentina at the World Championships, gloriously claimed a gold. They're veterans. But a rare occasion that Brazil has been defeated in this, and maybe there's an element of Licina looking to inspire this Argentine side that 15 years ago beat Brazil so famously.
One of a rare breed of Argentinian football five-a-siders to know what goal tastes like against their great foes, Brazil. Huge expectation upon young Luan at 28 years old in his first Paralympic final, and Martin Del Monte, appointed in 2009 to the helm of Argentinian five-a-side football. He has seen it all. He's also known heartbreak. Today represents his greatest opportunity to achieve immortality with this Argentinian football five-a-side team. There's the captain, Ricardinho of Brazil, and arch marksman Espinillo. So the referee ensuring that the patches and the goggles worn by these players of a B1 classification are secure so that fairness is ensured. All these players suffering from visual impairments, but the goggles and the shades employed to make sure of fairness. The goalkeepers, however, are sighted, and they also act as guides throughout the game. The goalkeepers will organize the defense. They'll tell their players where they should be moving around. The coaches will instruct the midfielders. And behind each goal, there is a guide who will instruct their attackers. It is the silent game of the beautiful game, and one that will be decided right here, right now, at the Almi Urban Sports Park, between the two greatest nations in the game. The great South American showdown of the Paralympics is underway. It's the final that fans will have hoped for and that a continent would have prayed for. Brazil versus Argentina, gold medal on the line. And Argentina with the first attack, but Brazil snuffing it out and getting an early possession, which they send long across the byline. And this is an exciting prospect with Espinillo almost in with a sniff of his 8th goal of the Paralympics. He has been utterly prolific. His 2 goals in the semi-finals, sending Argentina to this maiden final. Well, not maiden, their first since 2004. It will feel like a maiden final for them. But this Brazil outfit, yet to concede a goal, most goals scored. We're in for a humdinger.
We should be. There should be a captivating affair between these two sides where nothing less than gold will suffice for the world's most successful team, and indeed nothing less than gold will suffice for Argentina. That's the attitude, that's the idea, and especially after finishing in bronze medal position in the country of their great rivals, Brazil, last time out. The bronze medal for Argentina was something that they felt aggrieved at claiming, shall we say. Despite finishing on the podium, they wanted to be challenging for that gold in the final against Brazil. They wanted to beat Brazil. Unable to do so there, and already we've seen an element of the physical involved in the opening exchanges between these sides, which is certainly expected.
Well, a very heavy-handed challenge from Cassio. And I should make a point that if you're looking at the start lists, like any good Brazilian footballer, they're not known by their birth names, but by a one-name moniker. Hence, we have Luan in goal, Cassio, Nonato, Thiago Parreira, and Ricardinho, the captain, setting up to defend a free kick. That's the attacking guide, using a metal instrument, tapping it on the posts to give a sense of where the dimensions of the goal are. Well, confusion reigns with Brazil charging the free kick early, and Espinillo with a bit of cheek still trying to take an effort, but the referee not happy with how that all unfolded, so we'll go again. Just an illustration of some of the nerves that are maybe jingling and jangling out there. But Espinillo has shown himself to be deadly from dead ball territory.
These two have a great working relationship, Padilla and Espinillo. Bear in mind, they're brothers-in-law. They have played together for the longest time.
Well, Espinillo gets his eye in early, and a double fist pump from Luan. An acrobatic save. And just a flavor of the quality we can expect for this final.
Well, nearly a quite literal spanner in the works there is Guide tapping with a lovely metallic spanner directly behind the goal. Looks to guide that effort, but Luan pulled off a spectacular save, going high and to his left. Lace is being done. This is not uncommon to see. Lace is coming a little loose in the game, but Luan, beautiful reaction from him. Relatively comfortable height for a goalkeeper, but that was headed so quickly from Espinillo.
Well, it'll be a confidence settler as well for Maxi Espinillo, the 27-year-old from Cordoba, who has been something of a one-man goal-scoring phenomenon this Olympic Games, but it is Brazil challenging the Argentinian third of the field. You see the field split into 3/3 by the dotted lines out there, the midfield third, slightly larger. And Nonato, real sort of box-to-box, rangy, energetic player for Brazil. He's had 5 goals. He's Brazil's top scorer. And just there, an example of the players finding the location of the ball through the sound that is emitted from the heart of it. There's a sound system, as it's known, right in the middle of the ball that emits a jingle, a bell, and it helps the players to locate where the ball is, along with the help of the guides, of course.
Yeah, that doesn't detract from the fact that these players are relying on their heightened remaining senses available to them throughout this game. Incredible that some of these players are able to get shots in like this. Powerful on target, a big drive from a long way out, and again Luan called into action. Two really decent efforts in the opening 3 minutes.
Well, Deldo, not a man you'd normally associate with being in the goals. He does have one, but very much all about defensive stability as the immovable Argentinian object wearing 3, Federico Accardi, steps in. Now, he gave the Chinese team the most torrid of times in the second half. Really physical, really wily also. 32 years old. Sights, as expected, or as you would expect, his footballing hero as Leo Messi, but maybe not known for his finesse, more for his brute force and an ability to get his body in the way, as we're seeing right here, making life difficult for Higuainho.
A great battle between two experienced hands. This Argentine side looking to run this ball out from the back confidently, but it's an error here as it's been struck by Lencina right into his own defender, Padilla. And this is cause for concern, showing the confidence to run the ball back from out of their own final third and then completely getting it wrong.
Well, a messy clearance occurred there with Lencina seeking to distribute wide down the right flank, and it actually ricocheted off Padilla, and it was from that incident in trying to mop up the mess that Brazil find themselves with a prime piece of set piece real estate, and a free kick, an opportunity to test Lencina as Argentina have done to Luan so far.
So Lencina's foul has caused this set piece right in close, 6 meters out from the base of that right hand upright of the goalkeeper.
Okay, silence, silence, goalkeeper. Goalkeeper, okay? Guys.
Now the turn of Edson Gomez Marino Jr. to give an oral indication. And Brazil are thwarted by the selfless Federico Accardi. Froilan Padilla, I beg your pardon, Padilla. Sliding in to shut down the Brazilian attack straight away. And really something of an anticlimax for Brazil, but they will bring the game to the Argentinians from deep with a bit of trickery and footwork and shooting. The ball squirming off the post. Wow. Extraordinary play from the Brazilians. The danger isn't truly averted yet before Lencina eventually gathers and releases Espinillo to task the Brazilian defense. He tumbles over, but legally, and the first sights of Brazil in full flight.
Yeah, Brazil absolutely glorious with the ball at their feet and able to control and getting a shot in here that is for Argentina. Very fortunate to have come off the woodwork in a way, but beautiful control from Thiago Parena and able to get that shot in I mean, he picked that ball up in his own final third and dribbled it to the opposite side of the pitch before getting a shot away. Argentina, though, in some close quarter action, unable to get a shot in at Luan for a third time in the opening 5 minutes of this tie. But already we're seeing some wonderful display from the Brazilians, including the captain here, Ricardinho, going for a shot from range.
Well, you'll notice the goalkeepers as well, unable to leave the rectangular box in front of the goal. That's the goalkeeper's area, so they're confined to that rectangle, which is why they're not allowed to come out and shut down the space of the opposition attackers. But Luan exiting the box there. As guides, as organisers, they are permitted to leave the box when the ball is dead to arrange their defence. Espinillo met by a golden Brazilian wall, and Brazil break down the left flank. Wondrous control and shot as well from Ricardinho, who really looks like a man in the mood at the moment. Snapshot, small backlift, looking to test Lencina early.
It's quality end-to-end stuff, because Argentina had possession of a set piece down one end. Nonato won possession, and we're talking seconds later. Ricardinho was attempting that effort. This is Nonato.
Well, Nonato demonstrating his control now, weaving through the blue and white jerseys of Argentina. No foul, despite hitting the artificial turf here in Tokyo. A rare moment of pause and control. Padilla, the veteran, the man who really has an extraordinary story, was living on the streets of Argentina, of Buenos Aires 16 years ago, sleeping rough in churches around about the time the 2004 final between these two teams was played. And now he finds himself in a Paralympic final, and really one of the defensive linchpins of this Argentinian team. It's his long pass to his brother-in-law, Espinillo. But Brazil, a match to his energy up front right now. Padilla working with his captain. But clumsy challenge on Deldo.
Okay, cool.
Means it'll be Argentinian possession, and neither side with a firmer foothold than the other thus far in the match.
That's true. I mean, you would expect one of these sides to be starting to put the hand up. Argentina looked like they were going to do it in the opening 3 minutes with two glorious attempts at goal, Luan denying them on both occasions. But the way that Brazil has come back with a few weaving runs of their own, and a couple of chances that have perhaps not gone quite the way they would have liked, one striking the woodwork and another into the side netting. No side has really imposed themselves. There's no clear dominance from either one, but we are starting to see them develop into their game plan. Here's Espinillo, how dangerous he is when he's in full flight.
With beautiful skill to get himself past the first defender, but two golden Brazilian jerseys awaited him. He couldn't find a way through, but Nonato will now have a go again, finds himself tumbling to the floor and injuring the Argentinian captain, Angel Deldo. It's a painful one to the shin, maybe. Just see the intensity of Fabio Ribeiro, who, as a player, himself won gold at Athens, Beijing, London. When he was appointed in 2013 as coach, the appointment came with a heavy crown, but one that he's worn with levity thus far. 2016, he guided them to the gold, and right here in Tokyo, as Martin De Monte, his opposite number in the coach's part of the field, calls the first time out. We get a moment to reflect.
Well, I think you hit the nail on the head speaking about the coach Fabio Rivera de Vasconcelos and his ability to not only guide the side, having been as part of the squad, having won trophies with the squad previously, but there is the sentiment of continuing a legacy, understanding a great responsibility because of their footballing history that Brazil need to continue, and with that comes pressure. This is ultimately an area that Argentina could exploit. Argentina are heavy underdogs as a result of this, and maybe there is an element for Argentina to be making a good charge of it in the opening stages. They did so in the early minutes, but have not been able to continue that. There is the great scorer for Morocco, Snisla, who finds himself as leading scorer throughout this tournament so far. Espinillo is one behind, and maybe just a golden boot to come. Sizzling Snisla, I believe, is a new nickname that should stick, given how incredibly competent he was with the ball at his feet. But the first hat-trick of this tournament, and he scored 4. Just for good measure.
He was on fire, wasn't he?
In the bronze medal match against China, it's Morocco who will be receiving the bronze medals at the end of this tie as well, as gold and silver will be decided between these two. Now, as the timeout, the post-timeout play work for Argentina.
Well, it's working for Ricardinho, who demonstrates incredible close control. But, well, Federico Accardi is a man who flirts with the very extremities of the law surrounding physicality in the game of football five-a-side, and I believe the age-old expression is him trying to swap jerseys before the end of the match there with the Brazilian captain, and he gives up a free kick. And he won't want to position himself in the referee's mind as a man who's out there engaging in nefarious deeds, because they'll want to keep the discipline and want to keep the fouls down and the accumulated fouls. Remember, if teams accumulate 5 fouls, then double penalty kicks come into play for the opposition. But as it is, the guide identifying exactly where he wants this Brazilian team to strike. Well, Ricardinho stopped by the man who gave away the free kick, Accardi. He will go all day.
Whatever he said, Padilla was certainly enjoying it. He was laughing along. Lighter moments on the pitch for Argentina, it seems, in the sky blue and white up against the famous Canaries of Brazil.
Wow.
Ricardinho, again, he's drawing these fouls here.
Well, Ricardinho found himself crabbing laterally across the field, and this time it was Espinillo, more known for his striking prowess than his tackling. Another foul surrendered by the Argentinians. Both these teams, their discipline has been supreme, actually, throughout the Paralympics. They're the best behaved. Brazil with just 16 fouls, Argentina with 17 fouls coming into this, but already Brazil drawing the whistle from the referee. 3 fouls already this half. And a free kick to defend. Ooh, well, Ricardinho, his initial intention was to shoot from range and to shoot hard. He didn't get all of the ball. And for a moment, it looked like it was going to fall into the path of Nonato, their top goal scorer. But just trickling wide, and Argentina under the pump. They'll need some relief, and they'll find it in the Brazilian half, although Brazil showing their defensive hunger through Thiago Pereira. Thiago Pereira, named after the state from which he hails from in Brazil. Such is the regard with which he holds his home area and they hold him. And Argentina need a bit more possession, a bit more concerted possession in the midfield and in the Brazilian half.
They certainly aren't taking full control of the near moments of dominance that they've been able to produce, and they're not dominating passages of play for largely long enough. You need to have the ball to be able to do something with the ball, and indeed Brazil have been able to claim the better of that since the opening minutes of this tie, as Argentina got off their only 2 shots of the game in the opening couple of minutes. But since then, the possession down effectively. The 6 of the minutes that have been played is seeing the ball at the feet of the Brazilian side here.
Well, this will be a concern for Argentina. Angel Deldo, their captain, going down for a second time. And this is a team who know each other so well. The defensive trio of Deldo, Accardi and Padilla, the bedrock of this Argentinian drive to the gold medal match. In fact, the 5 players starting for Argentina are exactly the same 5 who started their bronze medal match against China in Rio, I believe. So these players have been on a journey. They've won medals before, but today represents the biggest moment in their career. And the captain is going off with 2 men by his side. And is that the last we see of Angel Deldo Garcia, the Argentinian captain? And brings on a man who has not seen as many minutes as the rest of his compatriots.
Yeah, and a relatively new addition as well to the Argentine national squad in Nahuel Heredia. So it's going to be intriguing to see how he fits in, because this is not only a thoroughly important match, this is a match against the arch rivals, and it is a match for the gold medal at the Paralympic Games, something that nobody other than Brazil has ever managed to achieve.
Well, yes, Nahuel Heredia, 26-year-old in his first Paralympics, in a final, on the field, and with a big role to play. Espinillo, they've just struggled to get the ball to their striker. Does so well in anticipating the movement of the defenders when they're in possession, almost cutting off the attempted clearance there. But Nonato is being a real nuisance. Accardi may have met his match. And Espinillo just misjudging the travel of the ball. And again, quite bitty and fractious at the moment. No real rhythm emerging to the match.
Well, the attitude about this game, as the Moroccans again are featured, the Moroccan side that has created history by becoming the first African side to medal at the Paralympic Games. We're set to see the introduction of the Paralympic Pele. Looks like he'll be making his way on momentarily. Luan has the ball in possession though. But when you look at this side, there's a few representatives from Thailand. We've seen France as well, who played in this tournament. So effectively 10 minutes gone. And while we've seen moments of samba magic, we've yet to see a goal from Brazil, and certainly for Argentina, something similar. There are passages of dominance, but nothing yielded for either one of these sides a quarter of the way through the match.
And from such a start-stop nature of the first 10 minutes, we stop once again because it's time for a drinks break. Drinks breaks happening halfway through each half at an appropriate interval and opportunity, and it seems looking very measured. Martin Del Monte there's the French team, who came with very, very high hopes, which were extinguished in part by Brazil, who were tested early by Espinillo, but Luan a match before Thiago Pereira came closest, just trickling agonizingly onto the inside of the post before bouncing out for Lencina to swat away the danger. Cagey stuff in the opening 10 minutes. It's not the rip-roarer that maybe many would have predicted, but with 30 minutes remaining, you can bet on passages opening up. Espinillo. Argentina need to get the ball to his feet more, and if you're looking for magic, look no further than Jeffinho in the number 7 jersey, who has just entered the field of play.
Incredible player, genuinely incredible, and to be gifted the name Pele, whether as a nickname or anything otherwise, would suggest that you are incredibly highly regarded, possibly the greatest of them all. In Brazil, certainly, the name Pele is only synonymous with excellence. And indeed, he is known as the Paralympic Pele. There's Espinillo, though. Chance to get a third shot in here on goal, but very comfortably defended in the end by Nonato. Not only is he the leading goal scorer, he's put in some very physical challenges already. Fractious is the word you used. It's very much a match of attrition, this, and almost in a sense encompasses the attitude between these sides as Espinillo looks for space again.
Well, Espinillo is finding a way in which to traverse from the left flank across into the centre at the top of the penalty area, defined by the arc. And just not able to get his shot away at the moment. There's enough irritation from the Brazilian defenders to make him question whether he should be pulling the trigger. You've seen all tournament, though. You get a glimpse. He's utterly deadly.
Well, I mean, the fact that Luan actually saved that first shot, that goal that he had, was remarkable in itself. I mean, not every goalkeeper would have reached that. That was headed top corner, incredibly powerful effort.
Well, that is as uncompromising as it gets, and Espinillo looks dazed as he gets up in the background, and it's at the feet of the Paralympic Pele, who links up with his man Nonato in the 8 jersey. These two with a telepathy really like no other pairing in this Paralympics. And the Brazilians are just so gifted with the ball at their feet. Many of these players coming from humble backgrounds. We know of all the stories of Brazilian greats learning on the dirt streets of Rio, Sao Paulo, Brasilia, anywhere where there's a flat surface in honesty. But for the Brazilian visually impaired footballers, many of them have grown up playing with a ball wrapped in a plastic bag as the indicator as to where the ball is. So uneven surfaces, suboptimal sound being emitted from the ball they're using. So to then be on a perfect artificial turf with a ball like this is why their control is so wizardly.
Yeah, it's genuinely remarkable when you listen to some of the stories of where they began. And it doesn't matter which continent players are from. The best of the ones that had gravel in the ball, like Berka of Morocco, or like Jeffinho and a handful of these players who played with plastic bags around the ball to make it audible so that they could hear where the ball was. Here is Jeffinho looking for an opportunity to make use of his incredible pace and skills.
Look at that. The ball hardly leaving his feet. And finding a beautiful through ball for Nonato to pounce upon, but Lencina is there first, and Argentina break through Heredia. Heredia looking to help Espinillo up top. Espinillo, almost a clumsy challenge, but Casio first to it, too fast. But Espinillo, again, drawing the ire of the referee's whistle, and Argentina are up to 4 fouls and beginning to edge to double penalty territory.
Yeah, that's certainly something that's going to be of concern for Argentina if they do get to that stage of this half. One of the changes from the Rio Paralympic Games was quite simply from 3 to 5, the number of fouls before double penalties come into play. It's set to see a change for Argentina as well. Here's Nonato going on another thrilling run before he's suddenly interrupted.
Well, Padilla maneuvering his way in between the ball and Nonato, and well, he's surely taken out Nonato. Nonato's got his hands up in the air, appealing to the referee and also sort of making a big attempt to show that he's not interfering with Padilla. No free kick given. And it is scrappy, it is physical. We did call it the beautiful game at the top of the match, but it certainly lacked an aesthetically pleasing nature at points so far. But Casio battling with the Argentinian defense. Oh, it's a clash of heads there, but Espinillo has a nibble at Casio, who goes down.
Not all the elements of Jogo Bonito here, but this is an Argentine side that is fairly desperate not to lose to Brazil, indeed to win. Espinillo looking for a little space to fire in a second effort on goal.
So interesting to see the players have a brief pause and respite while they listen to the instructions of their guide when they're in the final third. They're not allowed to stop for more than 4 seconds in possession to put their foot on the ball, but they're trying to listen to their guide and also to listen to where the defenders are moving around so that they can find the space to create the opportunity to shoot.
Yeah, it's quite a change when you're watching this live in the sense that when fans are in the venue, they aren't allowed to cheer and shout until the ball is dead, owing to the fact that the ball needs to be audible to the players for them to assess where it is, to then play with the ball at their feet.
Yes. The International Blind Sport Federation encourage the fans when they are here by saying disciplined spectators cheer with all their might, but in silence. So it requires an element of restraint when being a football five-a-side follower. Not much to cheer about for either side so far, but Brazil attempting with a bit of ball mastery on the left flank. Fashioned the opportunity, but didn't have the power in the shot to truly test Lencina. Another Brazilian goes tumbling. Pereira throwing his weight around in his early minutes. And, well, for the first time in a long time, Argentina have a corner and an opportunity to try and apply some concerted pressure on a Brazil who, at the moment, are probably on top in this game.
Yeah, the last set piece Argentina had, they closed the window of opportunity on themselves, which is something they don't want to be doing. You're not going to get a great deal of assistance from your opponents when your opponents are Brazil. So you need to make it count. Argentina, though, do not really have a series of outlets here. The almost perplexing situation is that they've got players back more defensively than they have players forward looking to shoot. There are the respective camps. Argentina and Brazil sitting on in very different areas, as you would well expect. The technical officials and fellow sports people who've made their way to the venue to enjoy this action.
So Pereira will look to cut his way through the Brazilian defenders, but it's Heredia who will retrieve it from the halfway line. Casio, who has really been fantastic in this first half. Very controlled, very busy, but he does give away possession in a dangerous area. And Argentina, well, they have 4 shirts to beat. Padilla charges in and throws a long left limb. It's being pressured by Jeffinho. Argentina in retreat. They need to be careful not to give up possession in a dangerous area, and they just about escaped through Icardi, out-muscling Jeffinho. And Argentina and they carve out an opportunity late in this first half. They've been starved since their first 2 shots drew very, very good saves from Luan. Since then, the chances have dried up, and it's been all Brazil. But Argentina finishing a little bit stronger now. They'll have a chance to go from their goalkeeper.
Yeah, good communication from the goalkeeper, and that's one thing about having an experienced goalkeeper in your ranks is the constant communication, the quality communication that he brings in addition to the guide and the coaches.
Well, Thiago Pereira, who hit the post early in the first half, almost finds a way through. But it is last-ditch stuff from Argentina. He really is looking tricky when he gathers momentum. And it's interesting you mentioning Lencina's experience, his wisdom as a guide. These are his first minutes since the 8 that he had against Spain. So he had a full match against Morocco and just 8 minutes against Spain. And he hasn't played any against Thailand nor China. So it's a big call from De Monte to be putting him in to start instead of Mulek, who has just been a man mountain in the goal for them.
It has, but there's the element of the fact that he was part of the Argentine team that won the 2006 World Championships against Brazil. The fact that he's beaten Brazil maybe is a psychological element that can boost the spirits of the team around him. The other factor is he's genuinely one of the great men in the world of five-a-side football. As the new man on here, Gledson looks to get involved with a dribbling run into the final third of Argentina. Cleared confidently by Heredia. Picardinho looks to get this ball back for Brazil.
Well, maybe unexpectedly, Pereira and Heredia have brought great energy since coming on for Argentina, and it has disrupted Brazil's stranglehold on the game. Clumsy challenge from Brazil. No foul called. Jafinho met hard by Icardi. That's his modus operandi. Make things uncomfortable for his opposition players. Make them not want to go anywhere near him. And he's really sticking to the dangerous Jafinho like glue at the moment.
Yeah, he's excellent at that. That's the role he needs to play, and indeed he completes that role so incredibly well. But just going back to Lencina, the fact that why he's also so incredibly important to Argentine, there he is in goal, why he's so important to Argentine five-a-side football is the sense that he has continued to improve the game wherever he's been. His communication is excellent, but he's also somebody who is revered in the sense that he's tried to grow the game all over Argentina. In fact, he was among those individuals who got together to search for players in the women's game, and now Argentina have a national women's team as a result of his efforts. He's that kind of individual, so he sees the bigger picture and is able to help communicate that in small part on the pitch and throughout.
Well, a really important thing that you raised there, actually, that only a men's tournament at the Paralympics at the moment, but great strides being made with the intention for a women's competition to feature at the next Paralympics. They want to grow the game. They want to grow the game amongst the men. They want to grow the game amongst the women. And with acts like those from Lencina developing the Argentinian women's national team, that is even closer to coming to fruition.
And I think he actually coached for a short while when they were unable to find a coach to coach the women's side. That said, the other element of this, when you look at the competition as a whole, is the fact that Morocco winning a bronze medal, being on the podium as the first African side, is, again, going to break down the stigmas attached to parasport even further on the continent, and indeed will continue to see this game grow.
Well, speaking of breaking down, someone needs to break down a defence, because at 0-0, it hasn't been the goal fest that both these sides have delivered against every other opposition. You should have known that it would be tight between these two, and yet to really open up. There have been a few opportunities, good saves from Luan. Thiago Pereira hitting the post in the opening 10 minutes of the first half. But since then, opportunities few and far between. And the changes have been rung by both coaches. One of these changes, Gledson, still Gledson. Gledson diverted into the left-hand corner before finding the back heel to his captain, Hikaginho, who loses out, but Jafinho's back in possession. You could just watch Jafinho glide all day sometimes. The kind of player who, when he goes for a dribble, if he runs through a puddle, it doesn't make a splash. That's a back pass, goes across the byline, and Argentina will have to defend a corner with 44 seconds of the first half remaining. So just a great example there that the ball not going into the goalkeeper's box, so he can't touch the ball at all. He can't touch it from, even if he's standing inside and the ball's outside, that would be a penalty. Wow, questions being asked there as to whether it should be a Brazilian penalty. That'll be fascinating to see on the replay. It was a tantalizing ball across the front of the Argentinian goal, and Lencina decided to throw a left paw at it. Appeals from the Brazilian guide behind the goal, but no penalty given. And that is the face of a relieved man.
Yeah, the French referee, Carquet, very quickly he called to say it was on the line, or gestured to say it was on the line, as there were some vociferous appeals from the Brazilian coaching staff. Ricardinho back to his position.
Well, those balls that trickle across the front of the goalkeeper area can be just so dangerous for that reason, as Jafinho squeezes away his first shot of the final. It'll end 0-0 at the break, with Lencina launching high up to the Argentinian attacker. An Argentinian attack that have been shorn of opportunities since Espinillo tested the Brazilian goalkeeper Luan, who stood up well to the challenge. Since then, it has been all about Brazil, but they're yet to carve out the gilt-edged opportunity to take control in the gold medal match. It is Argentina 0, Brazil 0.
Taking a look at the match statistics for you, Brazil have managed to unleash 7 shots at goal, and they've done those all in succession because the first 2 of the game in the way of Argentina. It's been Brazilian domination in terms of possession, but they have not been able to capitalize on that advantage. 4 free kicks as well. It's something that they've been accustomed to doing, but Argentina far more stoic in their defense. Argentina themselves have looked dangerous. Again, though, they have been thwarted by Luan in the Brazilian goal.
Men's football five-a-side at the Tokyo 2020 Paralympics, and it is two South American heavyweights meeting in the final for the first time since Athens in 2004. Brazil, no, just gold, 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 gold. And right here in Tokyo, they seek more gold. But standing in their way is an obdurate Argentina, but this match, which promises so much like a dormant volcano, we're waiting for it to erupt. It was a cagey first half, and we start the second at 0-0, waiting for someone to spark it.
And the longer it goes without Brazil finding a score, the greater the pressure will be on the Brazilian side. And that will count certainly in favor of Argentina. But can they make it count?
So 20 minutes to determine who will take home the gold medal. It has been Brazil on every Paralympic occasion, but it is the first time they're meeting their great foes Argentina in a final since 2004. That man there in goal for Argentina, the legend Dario Lencina, he was there. He tasted silver. Oh, how he would love to take gold back to Argentina, the man from Escobar. But Brazil have been in charge. It was Argentina who tested Luan early in the exchanges, but since then it's been all Brazil. They're up to 7 shots to Argentina's 2 shots, and in the semi-final, very much like Argentina are doing at the moment, they were frustrated by Morocco, but it was a moment of magic from one of their players that eventually broke them down. Can Argentina hold out and fashion an opportunity for their arch goal scorer, Espinillo, who steals through and almost gathers possession to squeeze off a shot from close range. A miscontrol from Icardi, who thus far in Tokyo has been an immovable object at the back for Argentina. Their success built on this miserly defense of theirs. They're being called into action all too frequently at the moment. Not enough danger up front from them, and not enough time with the ball at the feet of Maxi Espinillo.
Yeah, that's true. He has been starved of supply, but there is very little outside of Heredia and his link-up play that has been able to see the ball move from the final third of Argentina into the final third of Brazil for the side in the sky blue and white.
Well, a trip from Espinillo. Sees Thiago Pereira go down, and I think advantage being played before the referee calling play back for that foul.
And the rain is starting to come down now, a little more heavily. Very high humidity, around 88% to kick off. It's up to 95, and now the rain is starting to come down, and this itself might change things. Playing on the artificial turf, however, thankfully rain is not the most interruptive of elements.
Does get greasy though, this pitch.
Yes.
We saw it in the semi-finals. The weather was torrential for both semi-finals, probably just that little bit worse for the Brazilians, in fact. They handled it well eventually as they were tested to the very limits by Morocco. But Espinillo is in with a challenge and coming away with possession. Cassio will marshal this one out. Been very good, Cassio, hasn't he? Been a real thorn in Espinillo's side, not allowing him to breathe. You can see that rain beginning to team down that little bit more. As Padilla positions himself excellently to affect the clearance. Icardi, so physical and just a nuisance, isn't he?
Now, this is almost what you don't want to have happening on the pitch, is where the man who's meant to be scoring goals in a game where there's no offside, he can stand virtually anywhere on the pitch, is having to come so deep into the field of play that he is virtually inside his final third, trying to collect the ball. And helping out defensively is one thing, but coming back deep to even gain possession of the ball is quite another. As Ricardinho just allows that one to spill free, and again it's Heredia who pushes into an attacking position.
Well, that is slightly problematic for Argentina as a general focus for their attack, that there doesn't seem to be that link between Espinillo and the defence. The defence working so hard as a triumvirate back there to frustrate the Brazilians, but missing that middle chunk in the field. And as you said, Espinillo having to work very hard coming deep when really they want to try and give him the ball in that dangerous last third, because he can shoot from anywhere. Loses control slightly from the corner. Beautiful turn. Tries to barge his way through the Brazilian wall. We'll get another opportunity as Nonato loses his shades. You can see there all these players of a B1 classification in terms of their visibility impairment, but all wearing goggles to ensure fairness. Goalkeepers sighted like Luan. Espinillo will go through the middle. Blocked by his own player, who's knocked to the floor. Very physical game so far.
We're not seeing as many attempts to try things, particularly from set pieces by Argentina. There's no combination plays that seem to have been practiced, unlike Brazil, where there's clear link-up. I think one of the things they've been able to put on display throughout this tournament, including the 3-0 win over China and the 4-0 over Japan, was the way they've managed to link up and get those combination plays going, as Padilla guides this back to Lencina.
Padilla's control at the back in finding his goalkeeper is quite remarkable. It's not the first time we've seen him come up with a back pass and just guide it serenely to the feet of his keeper as a relieving play. And Heredia, who came on for the captain Angel Deldo very, very early, has been busy. Maybe pressure on him to be that linking piece of the attacking puzzle that Argentina are missing in the midfield at the moment. Lencina just watches an effort from Nonato sail past the post. He throws the ball out too prematurely. The goalkeeper, by the way, can throw the ball airborne, but the first bounce must be before the halfway line. He can't just throw the length of the field, and also can't score directly either from a restart. So one of the tactics you will see sometimes to as an anti-football to some in taking away the intricate play is that goalkeepers will just launch the ball down the middle. They will test the awareness of the defenders and just look for that killer touch from their striker, that being Espinillo or Ricardinho for Brazil, wearing 10. As Thiago Pereira, the man who hit the post in the first half, goes on a mazy run and shoots early. Oh, that throw only in the half by a whisker. And Brazil are finding it all too easy to get into possession and at the feet of their skillful players like Ricardinho. Cassio once again disrupts. That one off Espinillo. And the goalkeeper will restart us again.
You just get a sense that Argentina feel rushed when they're in possession. Outside of Heredia, who seems to be playing a very composed game, the role that he's playing, he's trying to be that box-to-box player, so to speak. Brazil has this deflected effort, is saved by Lencina. difficult to change your weight, and it will become increasingly difficult the wetter it gets for the goalkeepers here, as Nonata's effort catches the inside of the thigh of Accardi and is smothered by Lencina. But you get the sense that Argentina are just feeling rushed when they're in possession. And that's something they need to avoid. They need to go back to playing the way they play. And that is quite simply take your time on the ball, get the feel of the ball, and then go where you need to. Espinillo nearly getting it right there.
Well, Espinillo wiped out and loses his eye patches and his goggles. A heavy fall as he looked to work his way through the tangle of legs. Brazil have really locked up Argentina's danger man. 7 goals to boast. 1 against Thailand, and then a brace against Spain, Morocco, China in the semi-final. Just 2 killer finishes, 1 from the set piece and 1 right after half-time to put the game beyond China's reach. And just that altered shot we saw a moment ago just shows you quite how heavy the rain is here. This really changing the complexion and the feeling of the match in this second half with the inclement conditions.
Now, this is interesting to see Espinillo off. Yes, Pereira has his qualities, but Espinillo's a man in form. But he has been marked. He has had players on him, Brian Pereira. So the change might be something that, as Ricardinho is also being taken off momentarily. The man on is Jefinho.
Well, you do a mini fist pump inside when you see Ricardinho go off, and then you look around and Jefinho, you hear, comes onto the field, who is a wizard of the game, not just the Brazilian game, but in the world game. Quite something to watch him with the ball at his feet. He was the difference in the semi-final. It was his tricky run when he went jinking through the Moroccan defence that forced an own goal, which was enough in the end to send them to this final. And once again, they're struggling to find a goal to break down their opposition. Lencina to Heredia. Heredia muscled off by the athletic Nonato.
Pereira looking to get involved early on. He's one of the few footballers who lost his sight later in life. As a youngster, actually had trials with one of the giant Argentine clubs in Vélez Sarsfield. Played the sport. Again, different backgrounds for the individuals, but he is a quality ball striker if he can get the chance. But you look at the Brazilian side and they've got 5 different goal scorers, 5 unique goal scorers in their camp. Although most impressive, I think, is the fact that they've yet to concede throughout the tournament. For Argentina, it's been limited to 1 main goal scorer, and that's been Espinillo. He hasn't scored all their goals, but he's been the 1 main goal scorer. Nobody else has more than 1 goal. He has 7.
Well, and the 2 other goal scorers are the captain, Angel Deldo, who looks to be no longer taking part in the match, and then young Nico Velez. Well, I say young Nico, he's 30 years old, who we're yet to see in the match and has only played 27 minutes of this Paralympics. So Argentina will be seeking for someone else to take the goal-scoring mantle, because Espinillo is off the field, as he has been before as well, replaced for a second time. Did have a heavy fall, and I'm sure we'll see him return, but a great opportunity for Pereira, who goes around the Brazilian wall. Oh, if he'd only had the confidence to strike with his left foot. He just had Luan to beat from close range. Brazil regather themselves. They're organised again, and Cassio is hacking at the feet of Akadi, who's just too strong when in up against the hoardings. Really is just a roadblock. Thiago Pereira looked to be making progress before cutting inside and meeting Padilla, and of course Akadi, who are pretty much joined by the hip defensively. And as if right on cue, Maxi Espinillo returns to the game, having probably had his eye patches reapplied and his goggles resecured.
So Pereira, come on for a moment. He looked industrious. He might have had the only goal of the game so far had he been able to just swing a left boot at the ball that was running flush across the face of the Brazilian goal.
Well, that's gone too far, the throw from Lensina. He has flirted with the halfway line a couple of times on his restarts. Again, just a reminder that can't throw the ball beyond the halfway line. If it bounces before, it can roll on, that's absolutely fine, but the first bounce must be before the halfway line. And an error belying the experience of Dario Lensina in goal for Argentina. It's at the feet of the jinking Jefinho. Can he spark Brazil? He almost does. We saw that play from Brazil in the first half, actually, when Jefinho came on. Nonato ghosting in behind the Argentinian defense, and Jefinho dragging the Argentinian defense to the flank, and then looking to find Nonato with a diagonal ball.
Not a very good attempt to do so. I've been thoroughly impressed with the Brazilian combination and link-up play throughout this tournament, and the way they're able to pick one another out. A quick call, and suddenly the ball is often at the direction of the player who's provided an outlet for the player in possession. And seen a very deliberate about making that ball bounce before the halfway line. It's in the interest of fairness. So when it bounces, it's going to release much more of an audible rattle, and it allows players to get a sense of not only the position of the ball, the speed it's coming at, the trajectory, the height, if it's going to be bouncing higher or softer. There are distinct sound differences. So in the interests of fairness, that's among the reasons the ball needs to bounce before the halfway line.
Jefinho finding the going tough at the moment. The physicality of the Argentinians not lending itself to his more flight-footed style of play. They really are an uncompromising outfit. And it is that niggle from the Argentinians that means we are still yet to see a goal. Both teams locked at 0-0 at the drinks break of the second half of the gold medal match of Tokyo 2020 Paralympics.
So Argentina hanging in there in the sense that they have yet to concede a goal. They are massive underdogs in this story of success of the Samba side, Brazil. Brazil are a team playing for their pedigree, continuing the legacy. That's the ultimate aim of this Brazilian side. And they are looking for nothing short of success. But having not scored against Argentina in effectively half an hour of game time, Argentina will fancy perhaps turning this match on its head. That said, Brazil are the kind of side that can take a match and turn it on its head in the final few minutes themselves.
But that usually comes from Espinillo, and right now he is being starved of opportunity. Cassio doing an incredible job, a very athletic job at the back, covering a lot of ground. They seem very organized as well, and just nothing clear-cut falling at the feet of the Argentinian marksman.
But it is also interesting to note the body language at the timeout. There's more smiles in the Argentine camp. There's a lot more of a positive, upbeat feeling for Brazil. The expectation is just so incredibly high that they have to score. They have to win. There is no other result. It cannot be anything but a victory And that brings with it a seriousness, and you don't want to be in that sort of situation. Argentina have the advantage here in the sense that they are expected to lose. They can go out with an element of freedom and play, and if they win, they do, despite the fact that this is a rivalry, and I guarantee you everybody on the pitch, or anybody from Argentina here, is wanting nothing short of a victory. They are the massive underdogs, and that is an advantage they can use.
Well, for a brief moment, we see Argentina commit more than one player up front. Long barrier stop from Padilla. Very, very inventive. I beg your pardon, that was Heredia. Nonato, oh, Nonato, snap left foot shot. It forces the save from Lencina, diving low to his left. It would have gone wide, but there was enough threat there to warrant the save. First glimpse of goal for either side in this second half.
Yeah, that was a very good save in two senses. One, the fact that he had completely got it covered, but the other was that it took a slight deflection on the way there in the first place, so would have gone out for the corner regardless. This is, again, one of those interesting tactics Brazil uses with a lob over the top of the Argentine defensive wall. Nonato in possession for a moment, and Jefinho.
Well, we've seen Jefinho employ that tactic before. We saw it prevalently in the semi-final. Very, very good variation to the corner. And he'll get another opportunity to potentially exercise that skill. Often we see teams looking to circumvent the three-man wall that's presented in front of them. If they can't get around, they go through, but Jefinho has the skill to go over the top, and he has the skill to go around. The little nibble from Espinillo puts him off his step, but here he goes.
Carney reading it just right in terms of disrupting the Jefinho flow with the ball at his feet. And again, Brazil have themselves a corner.
Well, Jefinho doing very, very well to disrupt Federico Accardi there, because he'd adopted the familiar crouched over position of blocking access to the ball. Jefinho tries to flip the ball over the wall. It gets nestled in the shoulders of the defenders, and Espinillo breaks, but he breaks too fast with too heavy a touch. And already Brazil on the break. They do look to not hang around when the ball goes across the byline. There's always a ball ready to break quickly, but Argentina with a timely tackle before once again a heavy touch. Jefinho dancing inside, but met by the first of four Argentinian jerseys, Espinillo. Espinillo still hounding the Brazilian defense for Thiago Pereira. He'll have a run now. Thiago Pereira, the man who hit the post, looking to breathe life into this Brazilian gold medal match tilt. Nonato, who has been subdued for Brazil, usually a far more active participant in matches. But that is a testament to the grit that runs through everything that the Argentinian team are doing. Nahuel Heredia, he's been very good before coming on to fill his captain's shoes. What a goal from Nonato! It needed some magic, and it came from the left-footed wand of Nonato. One wave, and Brazil are in the lead and in charge of this gold medal match.
You've got to wonder just what this does now for the game. Is this the sluice gates opening? As a sublime finish, he got past two with relative ease. The skills of Nonato, beautiful execution. He cut inside of two Argentine defenders before unleashing a shot high to the top corner. Beats Lencina in goal. And Brazil celebrate like they've already won the trophy. Such was the release of this pressure build-up and frustration relieved by Raimundo Mendes, known largely to most as Nonato.
In their time of need, Brazil's top goal scorer comes up with the goods. Look at that. Look at that embrace for the goal scorer. They know how crucial that goal is. It had been coming. Argentina were content with frustrating, content with trying to catch Brazil on the break. But with Argentina only fashioning 2 shots all game, admittedly both on target, and Brazil with 11 shots. It was only a matter of time before one of them saw the net bulging. Brazil lead 1-0 in the gold medal match. 7 minutes remaining for Argentina to get themselves back into contention. Jefinho goes dancing again down the right flank, but dances too far. The ball across the byline. Argentina, they need to change something. They need a bit more creation. They need a bit more attacking drive because they have to score. Otherwise, it'll be a second silver.
This man, Jefinho, flicks and tricks and all-round skills that are amongst the best in the world. On the balance of play, Brazil leading is fair. But for Argentina, who would have felt that the longer they could keep Brazil from scoring, the pressure would build in their favor. They haven't been able to take advantage, and now Kletzen and Jefinho stand over this set piece.
Well, Argentina have to play now, don't they? Their tactic of frustrating and defending obdurately isn't going to be enough. Espinillo's cut a frustrated figure.
And that man is key. Pereira having been whipped on now as Heredia made his way off. No longer is he just effectively a link-up man between defence and the man up front in Espinillo. Instead, he's almost gone with a second attacker here. As the Argentine coach in Martín Del Monte.
Well, fabulous accurate tackle from Espinillo, who almost makes his way through the last man. But Casio, as he has done all game, has Espinillo wrapped up. Espinillo moving through the heart of the Brazilian defence. But the ball winning the race to the Brazilian goalkeeper, Luan. Just a glimmer of prospect for Espinillo, a glimmer that we haven't seen since the opening minutes. Argentina have been sparked into a bit more life through necessity. They trail 1-0. 5.5 minutes remaining of the final. 5.5 minutes potentially remaining of Argentina's bid to claim a first gold medal, for any nation to claim a gold medal in the Paralympics at football five-a-side. It was Brazil in Rio, it was Brazil in London, Beijing and Athens. Will they taste gold again in Tokyo?
Kletzen is off after a cameo appearance. Nonato prepares to make his way back on as well, as Ricardinho does for this side. As Argentina have called the timeout.
Well, this is the biggest timeout of Argentina's lives. Their first appearance in the gold medal match since 2004. Solemn faces from their supporters in the stands at the Yalmi Urban Sports Park. You see Nonato falling off balance, just lifting it enough beyond the reach of Lencina, who gambled on going low, didn't he?
He certainly does. Lencina looking like he was needing to go low to prevent that from going in. Tried to cover as much as he could with Nonato's run, but watch the guide behind the Argentine goal as well. From that last angle, you're able to see how the guide is moving his body to the left, mouth agape, screaming clearly, this is where he wants this ball to go. And Nonato able to unleash that effort that went beyond Lencina in goal as Brazil lead with effectively 5 minutes left on the clock. This is the gold medal match. And Brazil would believe now that this is number 5.
Those levels of communication are just quite remarkable from the guides, to be so precise under pressure when one of their best goal scorers is bearing down on goal, to be able to communicate effectively and succinctly to Nonato. That's Cassio there, who's done all the unglamorous work at the back. Not to say that it's any less important than the goal scoring. He's had Espinillo wrapped up, but Espinillo will have a say and he'll have a shot. Goodness me. Luan fist pumps in relief at pulling out a masterful save.
This is the danger that Espinillo possesses, his ability to unleash incredibly powerful snapshots. He's got an incredible sense to know where goal is. Is he the most flamboyant player? No. Is he the most incredibly talented player with the ball at his feet? Certainly not. Is he the fittest player on the park? No. But can he unleash incredibly powerful snapshots and score critical goals? The answer undoubtedly is yes. And that's the role he brings. Here he is.
He is one of those most sought-after mythical beasts, the natural goal scorer. All he needs is a sniff. And the one doing so well, his backlift, so shallow as well. Barely you have time to set yourself for the save, but Luan doing incredibly well to pounce across the face of his goal and divert the ball out for a corner. That could be a gold medal winning save as Argentina struggle now to contain Thiago Pereira. They do very well with the last cast challenge. And Cassio, he can't keep the ball in play, and Argentina will enjoy another corner and a period of pressure in the Brazilian third that they desperately need if they're to turn the silver that's in their hands into gold.
It's going to take some effort from here, but every time you see Espinillo get a shot away, you get a sense that it's something they're capable of doing. Luan, credit to him, he's stepped up as required, and neither of the Brazilian keepers at this tournament has conceded. It's almost unthinkable that they have scored 13, conceded none, Brazil.
Argentina have 4 minutes to overturn this 1-goal deficit. And right there we're seeing Luan just take the steam out of the game. All game they've been getting the ball moving into play, pressuring, hurrying the Argentinians. But right now, the clock is their friend as Argentina go directly to the feet of Espinillo. Brings it under control expertly, but with 2 Brazilians around him, he misses out in the challenge. Here's Cassio. In territory we haven't really seen him operating in. Does have a goal this Paralympics, but it's been all about the defense from the big rangy number 5. Nonato, the goal scorer. Is he the goal scoring Nonato? And he loses his goggles in a heavy-handed challenge. And it'll suit Brazil because it's Argentina who need the momentum. Timeout called by Brazil. No more timeouts, no more water breaks, no more chances. 3 minutes and 14 seconds left. Brazil in the box seat for the gold medal.
The country that gave the world Jogo Bonito look like they are only a handful of minutes away from claiming the great result, a gold medal at the Paralympic Games for the 5th successive time. The flag of Brazil, Ordem e Progresso, and there's certainly been order and progress in this Brazilian camp throughout their Paralympic performances from Athens 2004 when they won the very first time. The football five-a-side was played competitively at the Paralympic Games. Every so often, these timeouts, a little bit of a dance cam appears, which you can't see, and then anybody in the shot is expected to do a little bit of a dance. Usually it's just some arm waving.
I think that's the way you keep yourself warm in conditions like this. The rain has been pouring down since half-time. And again, a credit to the players that it hasn't really impinged on the quality of control with the ball at anybody's feet. But it's that man, the number 8, Nonato, who controlled his nerves and the ball right into the top right-hand corner past Lensina to give Brazil this lead. They will strike from the free kick. Ricardinho stopped in his tracks. Espinillo will not give up. Will we see the great Argentinian striker get another shot at goal and of dragging Argentina back into this gold medal match? So much hope coming into this game. 2 minutes and 43 seconds remain of that hope. Brazil happy to sit deep, invite the Argentinians onto them now. The momentum, the feel of these final few minutes, very, very different to the game that we've enjoyed so far.
Certainly is. I think Brazil playing with a little more freedom, certainly less pressure now, and indeed not quite so urgent, which will frustrate Argentina. The ball going to go out of play, and Icardi in a mildly more attacking area, position we're not used to seeing him in.
Thiago Pereira, almost putting an exclamation mark after this Brazil performance. Thwarted by Lensina, but it will be a Brazil corner. Now, interesting, 4 in the wall here for Argentina. If Brazil can get it around them and find a way to Nonato, who is unguarded behind the Argentinian defense at the moment, it could be a problem for Argentina. But as it is, it's problems for Brazil with Espinillo charging through. The ball goes all the way to Luan. End to end, the game's really opened up for the final couple of minutes. It'll likely suit Argentina because they need a break, they need a lucky break from the thus far resolute Brazilian defense. The ball trickles away from them again. Brazil populating their half pretty comfortably at the moment. And it's the most advanced we've seen all these Argentinian jerseys to this point. Espinillo, missed control in the left corner. 71 seconds remain of the gold medal match.
This many minutes into the match, Argentina had already got off a glorious shot that was only just saved by Luan, and shortly after Espinillo's initial effort, they got off another through the injured captain. And that's what you call a pep talk.
Well, no passion been dampened by the weather here. Fabio Ribeiro, he's coached them to 1 gold in Rio. He played his way to 3 golds as a player. Will he claim his 5th.
So
right here in Tokyo.
Yeah, Nonato off, Glitzen on. Hoping for 5th successive. Brazil, and indeed the coach, between player and coach, Fabio Ribeiro de Vasconcelos. 1:05 to play. Nonato has an opportunity to enjoy a cool drink, to rehydrate, and to settle in for the celebrations that are to follow should the Samba side hold out without conceding in this final minute.
Well, that sports drink of Nonato's could well be replaced by the fizz of something a little more celebratory in 45 seconds. Argentina need a moment of magic, just like Nonato delivered for Brazil. Espinillo is the man to do it. He's there with his brother-in-law, the 42-year-old Padilla, the man who wants this gold so desperately. Can Espinillo do it at the death? Brazil defends stoically once again. Padilla, all 8 players in the Brazilian half. But the ball will dribble away across the byline. Brazil in control of the scoreboard, leading 1-0, in control of possession. And with the clock on their side, only seconds left. Lencina, the man who was in that Argentinian squad, who lost to Brazil at Athens in 2004 in the last final that these two met in. It's looking like it'll be silver again for him and Argentina, despite their best attempts. The clock ticking down. Icarginho on the ball, and the Brazilians vaulting the hoardings, because it is a famous 5 for the Seleção. Brazil, the chosen ones, once again in Tokyo. They've won the gold medal match. They have defeated their arch rivals Argentina 1-0.
5-a-side football, 5 gold medals for Brazil as they remain the undefeated kings of Paralympic 5-a-side football. 5 successive golds in this game. Rather incredible. And they take the plaudits. The rain comes down, but they are celebrating right now. There's no getting wet. This is feeling the rain, feeling the moment, feeling the occasion, and being rightly applauded by those who watch on. Emotional moments for the Brazilians. For some, it's a new feeling. For others, it is a long-standing story. But to defeat Argentina is the ultimate goal in any football match, and to do it with the reward, the great reward of once again claiming Paralympic gold, is even sweeter.
Well, heartbreak for Argentina, for Padilla, for his coach De Monte, who embrace each other. And they can only look on at the celebrations of Brazil. This extraordinary gold medal dynasty stretching out even further. Paris will be the next opportunity, not just for Argentina, but for the world to try and oppose this quite unbelievable Brazilian football 5-a-side team. 5 Paralympic Games, 5 gold medals, no goals conceded in Tokyo. Brazil, the worthy winners of the Tokyo 2020 Paralympic men's football 5-a-side. They've beaten Argentina 1-0, thanks to a moment of magic from Nonato.
just loving every moment on the Brazilian side, who have the opportunity to celebrate what has been an incredible achievement. There have been great portraits of the best down the years, the generations that have passed, going back 17 years to the first time they won. Champions of the last 2 World Championships over Argentina as well. They're huddled together. 2 different huddles, 2 different messages, but 2 sides that can be incredibly proud of their performances at Tokyo 2020.
Contrasting huddles, as you said. And you wonder what's being said there. Will there be fuel for the fire for future Paralympics for the Argentinians? And for that huddle right there for the Brazilians, it is a case of mission accomplished. We have lived up to the expectations. We've honored our history. We've once again delivered the gold that no nation seems to be able to wrest from their control. The goal came from Nonato, but when people look back on this game, one must look to Luan, the 28-year-old goalkeeper featuring in his first Paralympics, pulled out a clutch of miraculous saves, 2 right at the start of the match, and then 1 vitally from Espinillo, with Argentina chasing the game. Those saves as good as the goals. And a big hand in why that team have gone through this Paralympics without conceding, without drawing, wins all the way. 13 goals, they finish the tournament top scorers. And that is why they will be stepping to the top of the podium once again to receive a gold medal at Tokyo.
Statistically, they were the better side. I mean, 3 shots to every one of Argentina's for Brazil as they unleashed 12, 7 of them on target. The only one that was unleashed on target that Lencina failed to clear came from the boot of Raimundo Mendes, known as Nonato. His 5 goals coming into this time means he ends on 6 goals. Zuhair Snisla of Morocco will finish as a bronze medalist and the Golden Boot winner of this tournament, while disappointment for Espinillo, who finishes with 7 in between.
Well, if only to reinforce the point about Luan, 4 shots from Argentina, all 4 on target, and meaty ones at that. Luan a match to them, vitally beating them out on each occasion. What a performance from the goalkeeper.
Incredible to go through an entire tournament without conceding, and Brazil have done that. Scored the most goals, conceded the fewest. They're a champion side, and champion sides, they always find a way. They left it late, but they made it great.
So final ranking, see Brazil sat atop of the tree, as they always have. Gold to Brazil, silver to Argentina, and a quite brilliant bronze to Morocco, becoming the first African nation to medal in the football five-a-side. The victory ceremony will follow, where we'll see Argentina again, we'll see Morocco, but we will see Brazil on the top of the podium.
Ladies and gentlemen, the victory ceremony for football five-a-side.
皆様、ただいまより5人制サッカーの表彰式を行います。
Please welcome the medalists.
So the victory ceremony for the men's football five-a-side of Tokyo 2020 Paralympics, and two incredibly worthy nations fought out for the gold medal in Brazil and Argentina. But of course, that is not forgetting Morocco, who claimed bronze. The first for Africa in this competition. All three teams excelling across a high caliber competition. So here come the Argentinians. They fought so hard against their great South American rivals. They progressed to the final undefeated, topping their group, vanquishing China in the semi-final. But the gold medal was a step too far. Brazil were the team on top, and Brazil eventually prevailing. But that is a team right there from a nation that was full of joy when they took care of China in their bronze medal match. The Moroccans will take to the podium for the first time in this magnificent sport that has appeared at 5 Paralympics now. So all three nations having to brave some suboptimal weather conditions.
Mr. Andrew Parsons, President of the International Paralympic Committee.
メダルの贈呈は国際パラリンピック委員会会長。
And a man who everybody knows, Mr. Andrew Parsons, one of the leaders of the We the 15 movement,
続きまして、国際
as well as the president of the International Blind Sports Federation.
Bronze medalists representing Morocco.
銅メダリスト、モロッコ。
So stepping up for the bronze medal, a bronze medal that was celebrated with great joy at the final whistle of their 4-0 defeat of China. It was a truly magnificent performance, a performance that has put African football five-a-side on the global map with the first medal of any colour for the continent in this emerging sport.
Critically as well, an 8th medal overall at these Paralympic Games for Moroccan side, who now lift themselves into the top 50. The goalkeepers traditionally tend to help out their teammates when it comes to anything where vision is required, and certainly in this instance, assistance required. So, goalkeeper in Abdelali Ait Al-Hakem is presenting his teammates with medals. They'll also receive floral bouquets with the mascot, Someiti, in the colour of their medals. But Samir Bara, Hussam Gilli, Imad Berka, the captain, and the man who has been an inspiration. This is goalkeeper Samir Bara handing out the floral bouquets to the first bunch of Moroccan players who are, as you say, history makers. They have achieved what no African side has managed to achieve. Kamal Mouhlam will receive his bouquet, and mascot from goalkeeper Aid El Hakim, Abderrazak Hatab, Ayub Hadimi, Said El Mselek, receiving their sometis in the colour of bronze to match their medals.
So there we have it, the bronze medalists for the men's football five-a-side. The first to medal at a Paralympics,
representing
Morocco from Africa.
金メダリストアルゼンチン
And the silver medalists, the famous blue and white of the South American footballing powerhouse, that is Argentina. Their first visit to a gold medal match since Athens in 2004. They came with great hope of gold. They'll leave with silver, and it's one that they will be able to reflect upon with great pride. They themselves beat Morocco, Spain, Thailand in the group before undoing China's gold medal tilt with a 2-0 victory. That man, Froilan Padilla. The last time Argentina were in a gold medal match in 2004, he was living on the streets of Buenos Aires, sleeping rough in churches, but now, as the defensive linchpin of Argentina, he now has a Paralympic silver medal hanging round his neck.
Another magnificent performance from Argentina throughout this competition. The men's gold medal match was where they wanted to be. Ultimately, a hurdle too far to claim the top step on the podium. But Dario Lenzina, goalkeeper, who handed out the initial batch of medals and will hand out these accompaniments for his teammates. Lenzina handing it to Angel Deldo Garcia, the captain of the side, then to Federico Accardi and Froilan Padilla. Marcelo Panizza, the reserve goalkeeper, a man who played some more of the matches as well outside of this final. German Mulek, he will hand out the accompaniments to his remaining teammates. Ryan Pereira, Nicolas Vélez, Nahuel Heredia, and right at the end, the man who finished second on the goal-scoring charts, Maximiliano Espinillo, a 27-year-old who's proved his genuine all-round ability for Argentina.
So for Argentina, for Los Murciélagos, it is silver at the Tokyo 2020 Paralympics.
Gold medalists and Paralympic champions representing Brazil.
But as we've seen on 4 occasions previously, as the Brazilians dance their way onto the gold medal podium, they sing, they clap, they celebrate, because they have done what all those who've gone before them have done. Chanting, "We are the champions." They've once again clinched gold. It was one of their toughest assignments yet against a talented and spirited Argentina, and look at them hold up their medal. It doesn't matter if it's your first, it doesn't matter if it's your fourth, like Jefinho, like Ricardinho, like Damião. It is a special, special moment.
To be a gold medalist at the Paralympic Games is the ultimate achievement for these players who set out to achieve under enormous pressure of continuing a legacy, and that legacy is come with some pedigree. Nothing short of champions. And they have conquered as they accomplished what they set out to achieve. They receive their mascots in the color gold. Luan, Cassio, Nonato, Thiago Pereira, Ricardinho, Damião, Jadiel, Jefinho, Gledson, Mateus. There is the man they call the Paralympic Pele. Jefinho receiving his bouquet. These little mascots, they are unique. You cannot buy them. These are gifted only to medal winners. And that's a very special accompaniment with a gold medal. Those in canary yellow have a medal of a golden hue, and that is exactly what they set out to achieve when they arrived in Tokyo.
The Brazilian gold rush continues. A fifth in the football five-a-side to the great nation of Brazil.
Ladies and gentlemen, the anthem of Brazil.
皆様、ブラジル国歌の演奏です。
Ladies and gentlemen, the Paralympic medalists.
皆様、パラリンピックメダリストです。
The medals have been decided in the men's football five-a-side at Tokyo 2020 Paralympics. It's bronze for Morocco, silver for Argentina, and as ever, once again, gold for Brazil. The Aomi Urban Sports Park on day 11 of the Tokyo 2020 Paralympics was the setting for history being written in the men's football five-a-side. With each kick, history was made. Morocco became the first African nation to clinch a medal in the sport by defeating China emphatically 4-0 and sealing a bronze medal thanks to the exploits of their fabulous striker Snizzler. That left gold and silver to be battled out between two South American footballing powerhouses. And while Argentina claimed their first silver since Athens 2004, it was Brazil who would continue their golden dynasty. 5 Paralympics, 5 golds, a nation never to be beaten in the sport.